Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. My question for you is, do you think that Alphabet should have a new line of business for consumer robots?
Yeah, so I think like for consumer robots, before I jump into the question, I actually want to know more about the context. So, you mean for consumer robot, that means this is the robot that is like specifically designed for consumers, want to align with consumers' demands. And something that directly jumped to my mind is something like the serving robots, the cleaning robots, the robots that is in consumers' home, and also it can also be expanded to other scopes like learning area, industry area. So I'm wondering which kind of robots you're referring to when we're thinking about consumer robot. Is there any specific focus area here?
Yeah, we're not sure yet. We're just thinking about whether to have this line of business first, and then we will talk about our potential value proposition or whatever. But we want to understand whether it is a good line of business for us to enter. There are some of the startups out there, but obviously it is so far away from monetization. So we want to know as Alphabet whether we want to enter this market.
Yeah, sure. So I would like to dig into this question in two part. The first part is about like Alphabet's existing ecosystem. So when we're thinking about Alphabet, apart from the software that we built, we also have a lot of hardware. For example, like Google Home, all of those like smart devices, those hardware systems have already, for example, we have already the algorithm that is specifically for the hardware. It also have a lot of infrastructure, architecture already being built there. So in terms of thinking about its existing ecosystem and also the technical feasibility there, I can definitely see the potential of expanding a business line into a consumer robot here. The second aspect is about the competitive landscape. So, as you've already mentioned, there are startups in the existing market that is designing for consumer robot. And also, when I'm thinking about robots, mostly the robots are for example, supply chain, are for industries, are for more like not directly towards to cost consumers to customers, but more like for businesses or entrepreneurs. So I would like to say that there's actually a big potential market in the competitive landscape there that it's like beneficial for us to develop into. So based on these two aspects, I would still like to say that there is a lot more potentials to develop this consumer specific robots for Alphabet.
Got it. Let me reframe this question a little bit. Let's say right now we're developing this new line of business for consumer robots at
Mhm.
Alphabet. What do you
Mhm.
think are the pros and cons?
Yeah. Do you mind me take a few moments to think for a while?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for pros, I have, just as I mentioned, there is big market potential there because there's not too much competitors in the existing market. The second reason for the pro is that I can definitely see there can be potential social goods for this consumer robots. This is because when we're thinking about robots, they can help to kind of like help people to do with a lot of like repetitive tasks. And also when we're thinking about some users like disabled people, those consumer robots can definitely align with their demands and in helping them to do a lot of very difficult tasks. So I can see there can be potential development of the social goods aspect for this consumer robot. The third pro is that there is much integration opportunity with its existing products in Alphabet. For example, no matter that it's a software or hardware, I can definitely see there can be seamless integration there that can both help the robot's growth, but also help the existing Alphabet's other existing Alphabet's products growth. And thinking about the con, since this is like a very brand new market, so this is actually very unvalidated. So that can probably lead to some of waste of resources, waste of the timing, which can be like be seen as an opportunity cost to develop other products. And also, in terms of the technical feasibility, consumer robot is something that is also very hard to build on. It requires a lot of different kind of newly developed algorithm and also hardware. So I think it's very hard to kind of build a product that is both aligned to the user need while also functioning well.
Yep, I think those are valid concerns. Now let's say that you are designing a consumer robot for Alphabet.
Mhm.
How do you want to design this?
Yeah, so just to kind of set the expectation for this question, do you want me to go in depth, like thinking about user segmentation, some solutions, and also metrics, or you just want me to directly give you some solutions directly?
Um, I want your solutions to be very to have supportive evidence. So
Okay.
talk about your whole thinking process.
Okay, got it, got it. Yeah, just before jumping into the question, I want to get to know more about some context and also background. So, just to like, do I assume that just what is the overarching goal for this development of new consumer robot for Alphabet? For example, are we going to kind of like do some monetization? On market acquisition, engagement, is there any overarching goal that we want to consider here?
You tell me.
Okay. Yeah, so I will actually assume that our initial goal is actually market acquisition. And this is because this is a brand new product there. So what we want to do is that we wanted to expand our market to to new customers so that they will be attracted to this new consumer robot here. So I would like to thinking about like market acquisition first. And if I actually like when I dig into the problem more, I may probably change this overarching goal here, but I will set this goal here first. And I'm wondering for this robot, is there any specific categories that we want to focus on? For example, like household, for example, like for like outside of house, is there any specific category?
Mm, not that I know of. Just do whatever category that you feel comfortable with.
Okay, so I actually have the flexibility to decide which kind of category I can go with. And I'm wondering, so for this robot, do you want me to design solely a hardware robot, or I also have the flexibility to decide it is like an integration between software and hardware, or solely hardware?
I mean, it has to be an integration with between hardware and software, but you can feel free to design like what type of format do you want to design this robot
Mm.
to, right? You don't
Okay.
necessarily need to land in humanoid robot. You can do like some other type of robot as well. So that is totally up to you.
Okay, thank you so much. That's very informative. So my last question is there any limitation in timeline and also resources?
No.
Okay, got it. I would like to first start with my framework. So, I will start with the alphabet's mission and a goal, and to set up some goal and also North Star metric that we want to achieve today. And then I'm going to think about the user segmentation for this consumer robot and prioritize which user segments that we want to focus on today. Based on the users, I'm going to think about some pain points and prioritize which pain point that we want to focus on. And based on the pain point, I'm going to develop some two to three solutions. And if the times allow, I'm going to go through the risk and mitigation and also metrics. If that sounds a good approach for you, do you mind me take a few moments to think about the goals and also mission?
Yeah, you take your time. I think the framework sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would like to start with the mission and goal. So thinking about the mission for Alphabet, I think it's stressed on one concept, which is the universability. So it want to serve for the whole a human population. So in this case, I can definitely envision that the reason and the motivation behind them to develop this consumer robot is because they want to design it to benefit the society for social goods. So I would like to so for these solutions and also for the user segmentation, I would like to focus on more on how we should respond back to this universality as a motivation for Alphabet. And digging more into this market acquisition overarching goal here, I think how we should achieve the overarching goal as market acquisition. One thing is that we want let the user, let the consumer to feel the first-hand value, the first-hand benefit. The second goals behind this is that we really want to align the user's need, align the user's goals as more as possible. So under this bucket, here are the two small goals that we want to achieve and that we want to stick with when we are designing the solution. So when we're thinking about the North Star metric, since we want to, the overarching goal is the market acquisition. So I would like to say that the North Star metric should be on the sales and also I would like to first say is the number of sales here because we wanted to reach as more population, as more consumers as possible. And I would like to take a pause here to ask if you have any follow-ups.
No, so far I really like that you position yourself as the universality and social goods. So let's design some robots for the social good.
Yeah, thank you. So I would like to get into the user segmentation. Do you mind me take a few moments to think for a while? Yeah, so I come up with these three user segmentation. So I would like to first start with disabled people. So disabled people, they may probably need this consumer robot for daily tasks. For example, since for example, the people who are not they have like limited mobility, they may probably need this consumer robot to take the things for them, letting them to walk to some places. So I can definitely envision there's a lot of potential for this consumer robot that will align with their daily tasks there. The second user segments I can think about is the kids. So for kids, it's very special that they are always being taken care of their family member, from their teachers. So I can also see that this consumer robot can align with their needs here because when we're taking care of them, we may probably need a device or a robot there that can taking care of your safety. So I think it is also a situation that we can apply the robots here for this user. For the third one is just like general public like you and me. So basically when we're thinking about the consumer robot for general public, so this is usually in our home, in the households, and this robot can be taken care of cleaning, cooking, and also it's just like very similar to some smart devices that can help us to make our life much more easier and also convenient. So here are the three segments. I'm wondering, do you have any question or concern?
No, I think it sounds pretty good to me. Which one do you want to prioritize?
Yeah, so here are the two criterion that I want to use for the prioritization. The first one is the total addressable market. So I would like to say that for the total addressable market, it should be relatively low for the disabled people, relatively medium for the kids, but very high for the general public. I think it's just like common sense that the disabled people have like much lower population than these two people, while kids are actually like smaller population than general public. And the second criterion is alignment with the market acquisition, which is our overarching goal, and also another mission, which is for the social goods, for developing this consumer robot. So I would like to say that when we're thinking about this criterion, it should be high for disabled people. This is because disabled people, when we're thinking about ecosystem for Alphabet, it is not like I haven't really know that there is specific specialized targeting on disabled people. And also, it is the best segmentations that we should align for our social goods aspect. So I would say that it should be very high. And for kids, I think it also should be relatively high because for Alphabet's product, for example, Google Home, they're also not really specific targeting on kids, and also it can also contribute to the social goods aspect. And for general public, it is relatively low here. So this is because I think we've already have big market targeting on those general public, and also it doesn't contribute to the goal of social good. So in terms of the criterion here, I would like to actually prioritize kids based on these two criterion. I'm wondering, do you have any question right now?
No, it sounds good.
Okay, so I would like to think about the pain points specifically for the kids. Yeah, so I come up with these five pain points specifically for kids when we're thinking about like their interactions with this new envisioned consumer robot. So one thing is about the safety issue. Since this is a hardware there, so it may probably lead to some of the safety issue when they're, for example, having some contact with a robot, and the robot will probably fall apart, that will hit them, and then that will lead to some safety issue here. And the second pain point is that it's actually related back to kids themselves, to their daily tasks. So they find hard to really take care of themselves. So for one thing, they find hard to organize stuff. When they're at home, they may probably will make the house very messy. And the second one is that they feel hard to really stick with their daily schedule because for kids, they don't necessarily have like very routine, very like strict daily schedules. So here is the pain points that is under this bucket of taking care of themselves. The third pain point I have for it specific for kids is that they have low motivation to study, which is like a very important component when we are thinking about kids because their parents always wanted them to study and learn more. So this can also be a pain point for them. The fourth one is that when they are interacting with the robots, this can probably lead to some distractions. This is because they want to play with the robots. The robots may seem very interesting, so that they spend too much time on it, that their parents may be very concerned that they spend too much time on the robots. And finally, they also have a pain point that they may feel boring when parents are not at home. So that may probably apply to the case that they may want to interact with the robots. So just to kind of clarify here, the pain points actually consider like actually have two categories. The first category is more on general pain points specific for kids, where these robots can actually align back to that pain points and then help to mitigate that pain points. And the second category is more likely on the interactions with the robots. When there is really the robots applied there, what is their pain points? So I would like to take a pause here to ask if you have any question.
Yeah, I understand that you kind of like talk about the pain points that the kids already have today and the pain points that they might have with interacting with a product formatting in a robot. Uh,
Mhm.
but like for example, you talk about like taking care of themselves. Do you only want to like focus on organizing stuff and then like hard to stick with their daily schedule? Like is it like all that you are focusing on, or like do you have more when you talk about taking care of themselves?
Yeah, of course. I can definitely see more potential under this big bucket of taking care of themselves. So, for example, some kids are not having the capability to cook food, to prepare food for themselves. They may probably don't have the capability to, for example, taking shower, even like that. So I can definitely see there is a lot more potential tasks that is under this big buckets. So if we want to design a solution specifically on this big user pain point, I would still like to kind of dig in on kind of like breaking down more because I think having like a very comprehensive, very thorough robot is not that technical feasible that can complete all of those tasks. But I can definitely envision that under this pain point, there is a lot more tasks that the robots can also potentially do.
Got it. So you just want to focus on these two for now, because like why?
Yeah, because like I can definitely focus on the others that I mentioned before, but I would like to also think for a while to think about like um if we stick with this pain point, which sub pain points that we want to stick with when designing the solution.
Okay. And also when you talk about kids, like what type of kids are you talking about?
Yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out. So when I'm thinking about kids, I would like to say that those are the kids like mostly on 3 to 10 years old, so less than middle schoolers, who are having limited capability to taking care of themselves, who are usually being taking care of their parents, their families, and they don't necessarily have like the autonomy to, for example, to going outside and also having like too much autonomy there.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out. So I would like to think for a while about the prioritization of the user pain point. Yeah, so based on the two criterion, one is the user impact. So how those kids will best respond to this pain points if it is being mitigated. I would like to say that it is highest for the one that we just talked about, hard to taking care of themselves, and also low motivation to study. This is because it is also aligned back to the parents' motivation to actually having a robot, consumer robot specifically for kids. And for the second criterion, which is the reach, how big this problem is, does it apply to every kid? I will also like to say that is the highest for this user pain point of hard to taking care of themselves. So I would like to prioritize this user pain point. And when I'm thinking about for the solution part for it, I would like to kind of thinking about like which subpoints that I want to stick with under some limitations and for example under some limitation in resources and timing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any concerns or questions right now?
No.
Okay. So I would like to think for a while about the solution. Yeah, I would like to start with my solution. So, just thinking about like the high level design of this robot, I would still like this robot to be like very automatic, very kind of very smart, and I would like to bring up three specific features of this robot instead of like three completely different solutions. So, one feature is about its time management. So, what we can do is that we can integrate a Google Calendar that is set by their parents with these robots. So that would motivate the kids to stick with the schedule. So for example, they have like some classes for example, virtual classes. Then the robots will actually urge the kids to do the classes. Will also for example, they need to kind of like do some recreation activities, the robots will also urge them to do so. So this is more like on the bucket of time management. The second one is more on the bucket of caring. So this feature is specific designed for taking care of the kids. So that would be having a camera being implemented there. So that will monitor the kids' behavior on a live basis. So that will help the parents to monitor the tasks, which will also directly link to the safety issue that they will make sure that the kids are stick with the schedule, but also making sure that they are under a safe environment. The third feature that I would like to introduce is like actually a habit training for the kids. So thinking about like they are hard to taking care of themselves, they're hard to manage themselves. So we want to introduce this habit training by integrating an AI assistant within it. So this AI assistant can have the capability to learn what the kids is doing, to having also the voice assistant there that is constantly guiding the kids to do their tasks. For example, when they're like learning themselves, then this voice assistant will kind of motivate themselves. And also, if they're actually doing some recreational activities, the robots will also get along with them and also encourage them to do so. So this is more on a feature of about the habit training. So I would like to take a pause here to ask if you have any question.
No, I think they looks great to me. Um, Maybe one small question about carrying and camera being implemented. Um, how do you want to like care for the kid with the camera?
Yeah, so basically the functionality of this camera is to monitor the kids is under safe environment while also monitor them is monitored. So basically it also requires the kids to having the autonomy to do the task by themselves, but also having this camera while making sure that they're sticking with their schedules, sticking with their tasks. So that is a component about caring here.
Okay,
Okay. So, do you want me to do a prioritization on which specific feature that we want to focus on?
sure.
Okay. There are two criterion that I want to set with which feature that we want to go for. So the first one is that it's technical feasibility. So in terms of the technical feasibility, I think for the first one, it actually is require less effort while high technical feasibility. This is because it just require a calendar integration, and the other functionality of about the robots will be quite similar to the other features. And for the second one, it requires medium because it requires integration of the camera. Well, also the camera needs to lively monitor the tasks being done by the kids. And for the third one, it actually have low technical feasibility because it requires some AI assistant integration, some new algorithm development, and also some voice assistant. So that may probably will has the lowest technical feasibility here. The second criterion is about the user impact. And we're thinking about the user impact both for the kids and also the parents. How do both of the stakeholders thinking about if this feature will help them or not? So I would like to say that for the time management, it has medium user impact. This is because this doesn't actually can monitor the kids, making sure that they're really sticking with the schedule. While the second one, it has high value because high value and impact because it has like the lively monitor of the tasks. And for the third one, it should be also high impact because it can directly guide the users. So I would like to prioritize this feature. And I'm wondering, do you have any question right now?
Mm, um, no, I think it looks great.
Okay, so I think I can just directly talking about some risks. So for about this integration of the camera, that leads to some of like the risk about the privacy. So even though they're kids, they don't necessarily want it to be always being monitored. And also, since it requires a third party integration about the camera there, that can also lead to some of the data leakage especially that a lot of the recording is at the kids' home where their parents may probably not there and then want to monitor them. So in order to mitigate this, I think one thing when we're doing some go-to-market strategy is that we wanted to get the consensus from the parents and then letting them to agree with this kind of like potential of the data leakage here so that we can making sure that they are not really concerned about this issue here. And the second risk is probably that although it is being monitored a task, however, the kids may probably even not stick with the task while the parents are away, even though they can monitor it, but they cannot just directly changing the behavior of the kids. So in order to mitigate this, I think it requires like future development of the robots that may probably like leads to other new functionality like the guidance, like some of other motivation strategy to the kids, letting them to actively sticking with the schedule. Yeah, I would like to see if you have any question.
Uh, no, so far.
Okay. So, like in order to test how this feature will be successful, I'm wondering, do you like want me to test it on assuming that we've already have this product and this is like a new feature being implemented here, or just directly testing on the new launch of this whole new consumer robot specifically for kids.
Yeah, so you're the head of this branch. So you just started this robot division. So you tell me, what metrics do you want to track?
Of course. So relating back to the North Star metric that we talked about, I think one thing directly linking to this is about the sales, the number of sales that is directly selling to the kids. And also this will help us to also reach to our overarching goal, which is the market acquisition. If there's more sales, definitely targeting on more kids that will attract more kids into our market. And thinking more, like, do you mind me take a few moments to think about the metrics more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so to relate back to the success metric, one thing that I want to bring up is the Net Promoter Score or user satisfaction. This is because I think it's a very important metric that is applying to the kids. Since for kids, their parents usually have a community. So if they find this consumer robot for the kids, it's very helpful for their kids to organizing their tasks, sticking with their daily schedule. They may probably will also recommend it to other parents which can lead into higher net promoter score and also user satisfaction. The third one is the time usage for the kids. So I would like to say that for the time usage, it should be on testing on a weekly basis. So I think one time for a week will be something that is more inappropriate. This is because like parents are usually like not always sticky with their kids and they may be out for a while for 1 week. And the time usage for that, I think it'll be like more than 3 to 4 hours. So that would be an appropriate time to test if this is being a successful and helpful robot for the kids. And in terms of the counter metric, something we wanted to know is more on a qualitative aspect, which is the user complaints. If the kids or if the parents find it not very helpful to their daily task, if there's any functionality that is not aligned with their needs, that will lead to more user complaints. And we will need to kind of like do more iteration on our product to see how we should align the best to their needs. So here is my metrics. I'm wondering, do you have any question or concerns?
No.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
How do you feel about your answer?
Yeah, I think so I think I did well until the pain point. So in terms of the pain points, it is a little bit messy here. So something is on the general pain point for the kids, while something is more on how kids really, if there is a robot there, how the kids interact with the robots. So I think I need to definitely need to like split them out and then make it very explicit. I find it out when I finally like reading through the pain points and then finally figure out, oh, it will be like very confusing. It's like very very interconnected there where I haven't explained it very well. So I think the pain points definitely need to have more place to improve on. And for the solution, I think also there is overlapping here. And also there is like no moonshot here. So definitely need to think about something that is more creative, especially considering the ecosystem under Alphabet. So I think these are the two areas that I specifically want to improve on.
Mm. I think this feedback makes sense to me. I think overall it's a pretty good answer. So let's get back to the first question. We're talking about do you think Alphabet should have a new line of business for consumer robots? Um, Realizing that I'm talking about Alphabet, not Google, then you
Yeah.
should think more about what are the other companies under Alphabet, right? So for the robotics industry, producing a robot is pretty much the same setup with manufacturing a car.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably want to talk about this. That's why Tesla is building humanoid robot, right? And Google, we do have the capability. We do have the manufacturing line of producing Waymo, because right now Waymo is producing the cars themselves. So
Yeah.
can we leverage the synergy between different businesses to create robots, right? So that's one. And I generally just advise you and Sophia just to talk about um, like new technology to in your Google interviews because they just like it. Like if you just focus too much on the user side of things, user pain points and your solutions and stuff, that is a good answer for like companies like Meta or LinkedIn because they are very user and data driven. But for Google, they want to see that you have passion for new technology. So you want to show them that you are keeping an eye on what is going on. Especially this is a pretty interesting space right now. Like back in the days in 2020 when I was interviewing, there is no new technology coming up. So right now it's very exciting. So you have to keep a track on what is going on.
So do
And
you think, sorry to interrupt, do you think that it will be better to integrate in the very first section of my answer? Like I'm probably discussing about some goals, mission, and probably competitive landscape.
Um, now I'm talking about the first question, like, do we
Yeah,
need
yeah, yeah.
this business, right?
Okay.
So I think you need to lay all your cards out there. This
Okay.
is the problem with answering a strategy question. Most of the like specifically
Oh, got
students,
it.
like non-MBA students, they do not use a MISI framework to lay out all the points that they want to mention there. If you're answering a product strategy question, it's pretty much answering a consulting question. You kind of like lay out everything. Like you were talking about tech, you were talking about manufacturing, you were talking about our synergy, your and ecosystem. You're talking about financials, right? You were talking about competitors. You lay out all the things there and then make a decision. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole point of strategy question is to make sure that you keep track of what is going on in the market and also
Mm-hmm.
you cover all the points. So
Okay.
um, that's the first question. And also, Google has a good reputation of not doing evil. So today, the robotics companies have a trust issue with consumers. And so you also probably want to talk about it. I realize that you talk about the social good later in your answer. You probably want to talk about it in the strategy as well. Like that is our
Mm-hmm.
unique position to enter this market. If let's say Tesla is creating a robot, right? How many people in the consumer space are trusting Tesla? um, Elon pretty much spent all his reputation with Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump, which is a very political thing, right?
Yeah.
And Google has been very calm during the whole AI era, uh, given that all the companies are coming for Google, right? OpenAI was coming for Google, Perplexity was coming for Google, everybody was coming for Google, but Google is still there. They're still very big. They still have a pretty good market share, right? They're still strong there. So we are at a very good position and we didn't do shit to come to this position. So you want to talk about this in your interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and social good is good to be mentioned. And when you talk about kids, you have to talk about parents. You talk about parents later, but probably want to bring them up in the very beginning of your answer because the
Mhm.
parents are the ones who pay for the robots.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I suggest you, and you talk about you having a problem with the pain points. I suggest you when you talk about pain points, you literally talk about the parents' pain point and the kids' pain point because they are
Mm-hmm.
different. So you kind of realize it yourself when you talk about the solutions that, for example, the parents want the kids to be safe, but the kids don't want to be monitored.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you want to talk about these and lay them out there to tell the interviewer that you get it. Like there's a conflict of interest here. And how does your robot satisfy both of their needs, right? And also,
Mm-hmm.
how old of the kids are you're talking about? I think later, like it is fine that you have this interactive experience with the interviewer. The interviewer can give you hints. Uh, your communication style is pretty good, so like the interviewers feel comfortable to give you a new direction and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good. The waiting time is too long. You spend a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
time. I think um, overall, this is my experience. People who share screen tend to care about what they show in the screen as well. So you spend a lot of time writing all the notes down. I
Mm-hmm.
think if you're not sharing the screen, then probably the interviewer cannot get what exactly you put in every bullet point, but you understand what you were going to say, and
Mm-hmm.
that is already good enough. So you probably want to shorten your wait time. Your wait time is
Yeah.
like it's not going to be longer than 2 minutes. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so keep in mind. Uh,
Okay.
when you talk about camera, um, again, you cannot skip tech when you are interviewing Google. If you want the camera to keep the kids safe, right? You want to talk about what technology Google uniquely have. For example, all the computer vision that Waymo is doing, all the computer vision that Google Maps have been doing, right? Um, all the perception and decision, real-time decision making, right? All of this can be utilized when you are developing a robot. And imagine this, today, all the other startups out there are still struggling with a robot standing, right? With a robot grabbing stuff, with a robot literally changing the clothes from the washer to dryer. And
Mm-hmm.
you, as a robot from Google, you can make sure the kids are safe, right? That aligns with Google's mission, not do evil, and
Mm-hmm.
create good things in this world, right? It is also the same value proposition when they first started Waymo, because human drivers are not reliable, and
Mm-hmm.
machine or robots can drive better cars and can
Mm-hmm.
have a lower accident rate. Okay? So you probably want to talk about that we do have the technology out there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the capability of developing the state-of-the-art robot to make sure that the kids are safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it is good that you talk about how parents feel. You probably want to dive deeper, like into how kids feel and how parents feel from the very beginning of the pain points.
Mm-hmm.
You could show a lot of your empathy here. For example, like what do the kids want? Should the design be a humanoid robot, or it should just be cute, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you build trust with parents and kids? How will
Yeah.
parents feel if you are using a robot to help kids, right? If they are first-time parents, will the parents feel guilty, right? So you're talking about a scenario where the parents want to spend more time with their kids, but they cannot spend uh, every day or every single second with their kid, right? Then
Mm,
you're
yeah.
narrowing it down to a demographics that you're talking about both parents are working.
Mm-hmm.
And then you probably can talk about the economy is not good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so many companies lay people off when they're on mat leave. So you should have said that, oh, my robots can release stress from the parents.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
still can have a job while keeping their
Mm-hmm.
kids safe, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
trying to steal the job from the parents. You're trying to enhance their interaction, to make their interaction more fun, right?
Yeah.
So that is the
Mm-hmm.
positioning that you're targeting here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also because you are the manager for the whole branch, you should have like technical metrics as well, to make sure that like for the for the key features,
Mm-hmm.
you're still on track.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. That's like very insightful. I'll
But
definitely take notes of that.
yeah, but overall, I like your answer. I like your communication. It's very clear. I'm sharing screen has some advantage and disadvantages. You want to manage the time you spend on your screen. But sharing screen also make the interviewer like release some stress from the interviewer. If I
Mm-hmm.
didn't follow something or I forgot about something, I can refer to your notes. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, just like practice with more sharing screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. That's extremely helpful.
Do you have any questions?
I think I'm good. Thank you so much for your time.
Good luck with your real interview.
Thank you.